biggest failing of the Supreme Court and our current system is right now the president has absolute power, and this was meant to be to not be the case, because when you look at the language of the contract, of the one senator talking to the other person in the disagreement, they said, why is the president excluded from the 14th Amendment? And they're like, I would ask the senator to look at this wording, and then the other person says, perhaps I was wrong. So there was perhaps right there, which means possibly but not definitely. So that left ambiguity open. So it would have to go to absolute presidential power. But we should fix that little flaw right there. That's the flaw in the system. We need to establish either, and I'm going to tell you exactly why we had absolute presidential power. Okay, and it was right on the here edge of it, and they didn't know exactly what to do, because they started getting more and more complicated militaries and everything else, and they like the fact of not having a militia, because the Second Amendment is for having a militia, an actual militia of the people, by the people, for the people. Okay, anyone who's a person, if you're a person, you have the right to be part of the militia and take place in it. There would be an open place for any person in the militia. They might not be able to go. You might not be able to serve in the army, but in the militia, anyone can join the militia, and we'll have there'll be a place for any person, and that's how it's supposed to be, and they're supposed to be able to have the right, to bear arms, and bear arms meant armaments. Arms is short for armaments, which meant the top military equipment of the day, including cannons and other military equipment. When they made these terms, so it just makes logical sense that you have to ultimately realize that we have, when you think about it, we have the right as people, to be part of the militia and have armaments, which meant the top military equipment of the day, including cannons and everything else. That includes nuclear weapons today. So we have the right to form a militia and have nuclear weapons in our militia, maybe just one per each state, but control over a nuclear weapon, control over a nuclear weapon that could cause devastation just as much as the top military powers have on this planet. Otherwise, we need an amendment to the Second Amendment, and if we do, we definitely need an amendment to the 14th Amendment to include presidential power, to include the president and Congress and everyone else, and all the other seats. So yeah. Anyways, you saw my fucked up face, but yeah. That's my video. But yeah, I do all my videos without any editing, so it doesn't really matter anyways. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's just a crazy system. So we have to go and fix the system, because this is what happens when you talk about stuff like that. You get the system will come after you, and they'll try to take you down, and then before you know it, you got a black eye. But yeah. Anyways, the whole thing is that we need to have some type of militia, so we can have actual power for the people, because the people don't hold any power in our current system, because even if we have rifles and everything else, that does not give us the ability to have any type of war with and match the military might of our government. And that was the whole point of the militia, is to be able to match the military might of the current government there. That way no government official can ever get too out of control. That way one side has to listen to reason. If the other side brings up something reasonable, there has to be a reasonable negotiation. And now they have stripped the rights. No, not stripped technically, because they still exist. and this still exists, and this is how it is. We have the right to nuclear weapons, and it is our right, and we shall treat it as our right to nuclear weapons. But they will make you think that this is not true. We have the right to form a real militia. The National Guard is not a real militia. It is a government-run, government-backed, and funded system. This is this is not going to actual people's control. They have the same entry standards into the National Guard as they do for the military. The militia will allow anyone, any people, any people, do you hear me? Do you hear how clear that is? Any people. So let that resonate in your head. And it must be broadcasted powerfully, because it is a right. I mean, and if we don't hold it as a right, and we let them think that we don't have that right, then they can take the right from us. Okay? So we don't let them take your rights from you. Broadcast it to the world that we have the right to nuclear weapons. And we need to form this as a system, a well-organized militia. Well-organized is the key. A well-organized system, not some ragtag system. It is a shaming and ridiculous that the military doesn't allow people in who don't have like a high school diploma, for instance. Anyone should be able to get into the military. If you have any type of foot condition anywhere, you should be able to get in. And you know that if they wanted to have that as the National Guard standard, you know, any person who wants to join the military who can't get into the Army or Navy or whatever should be allowed to go into the National Guard. And that's it. You know, and along with other people who any citizen who wants to just participate, just it's just how the system is designed, a well-regulated militia, and it's to allow everyone. Doesn't exclude people. Okay, that was the real power of it. This was not made to give us rights to guns as civilians. The Second Amendment was not made to give us, you know, I mean, it does give the people individual rights, but it's for a well-regulated militia. And people make the argument that that they themselves are a well-regulated militia, an army of one. You know, you could make that argument as well. You know, and that's exactly why we have rifles and stuff right now. But there is precedent that it was made to be for controlling military equipment to equal the same amount of domination as the current military. So satellites, we'd have all sorts of devices, all sorts of things. Okay, we need to be able to have the same military equipment that the military has to support the government on the side of the militia as well. Same military equipment. If we don't, then it's not. They're stripping our ability to have armaments, because armaments, like I said, is like the top military equipment of the day, which included cannons, because there was a town that defended itself with a cannon. We have rights to have cannons. There was some raiders coming in, and they fought them off with a cannon right in the center of their town. There's been all sorts of well-documented cases of this, and so we need to form some type of well-regulated militia for the entire population. Anyone who wishes to join can join, and they shall be nuclear armed. The National Guard, if so, needs to be able to have its own strike ability, its own nuclear strike ability against any military in our service branch, and the National Guard reports strictly to the people only. And we need a real representative, someone like me in there who would actually logically listen to arguments and not be swayed to politically do something different. Someone who's solid. And there needs to be some type of system to actually have this go to the people. There needs to be able to have a chain of command. We need communications here. The people have been cut off from communications from other people. I have been isolated from everyone. My videos don't get shown to anyone. Nothing ever happens on my channel. I am watched by probably every single agency in the world. And because of all my inventions and ideas and technology that I have for this world. And ultimately, it's kind of bad because no matter what I do, I can never get the message out because I can't actually get any human interaction on this planet. I'm just socially isolated, no matter how hard I try. But yeah, it's just funny how that goes. But yeah. Anyways, it's the more the system, the more that you realize that that you're not living in fundamental reality, the better. And so you can follow the logical progression of the spatial dimensions, and infinite amounts of zero-dimensional spatial potentiality can stack into any size one-dimensional existence, and infinite one-dimensional existence can stack into any size two-dimensional existence because it's length, and infinite amounts of length can stack in any size amounts of length and width, and zero dimensional is nothing, and infinite amounts of nothing can stack into any size something. And so we follow the logical progression all the way up. We know that infinite amounts of two-dimensional objects or planes, they're not objects, they're planes actually. I just say existence because it's easier. Two-dimensional existence can stack into any size three-dimensional existence because it's length and width. Now you've added depth. Now you can stack infinite amounts of two-dimensional planes in any size three-dimensional existence. Now we can follow this logically established pattern for the fourth dimension. If there's a fourth spatial dimension, then infinite three-dimensional universe potentiality can stack into any size four-dimensional object. So if there's a fourth spatial dimension, then we would expect to see the relative state or shape of our outer universe as flat or compressed, because this is what would happen to a three-dimensional universe. Because if we were in a 3+1 system, then we would know that there's a even distribution, a spherical even distribution of matter from the Big Bang out in the universe. If we were in a 3+1 system of space-time, that's how it would flow outwards from the center in a spherical distribution. And that's not what we observe. We see a compressed state or shape of the universe. This means that we have our universe version getting stacked down into a higher universe potentiality. So that's why we have that happening. So it's real simple. I can give y'all that information, but yeah, there's lots of stuff out there. And yes, so anyways, I don't want to talk too much here. I just wanted to clarify my point there that because of this observable fact that we are in a spatially compressed or non-even distribution of matter in the universe, this means that we're not in a 3+1 system. Because if we're in a 3+1 system, there must be spherical distribution of matter. There must. Unless there's some other observed force or field that could cause this to happen. And we just say dark matter and dark energy, but it's sloppy to just say this and not try to fix the problem. I fix the problem with this. just follow the logical progression of the spatial dimensions, just like we used to think we were on a flat Earth and we were the center of the universe, center of everything. Now we know we're not the center of everything. Now we know we're not on a flat Earth. Now we know we're on a spherical Earth. We're not the center of everything. We're not even the center of anywhere in our system, in our entire solar system, or the galaxy, or anywhere in the universe. So we can know that now we're not even the highest fundamental spatial dimension either. So now that we know there's higher fundamental spatial dimensions, we can look for how can we show these spatial dimensions, and what proof do we have of these spatial dimensions showing up in our system. And the most logical one is Mandela effects. You see Mandela effects causing all sorts of these are switches in fundamental reality. People thought Nelson Mandela died in a prison. No, he went to jail, spent his whole life in prison. The whole thing is the entire thing is completely it's completely just ridiculous. There's fundamental reality shifts. I've observed fundamental reality shifts myself, like 100%, 100%, like things that can't happen in fundamental reality. I've heard music on the radio that I've never heard before, and just every single song, nothing I've ever heard before. It was very strange. And and that was in a universe version where I had 130 miles an hour on my dashboard in my car instead of 110. So, anyways, and then it switched back eventually, and it went back to 110 when I sat back down in my universe version. But anyways, that was that, and it was very interesting to see this system, and to let's see. It's just, you can think about all the fundamental reality and how we're just not the highest version. Okay, so I think we'll just end it on that, because I think that's where they want me to not talk too much more about it. Apparently, but I got a fucked up face, as you can see, and so I don't want to show my face too much. Honestly, I'd rather just show my lips. But if I can. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have a glorious, magnificent, wonderful, beautiful, awesome, amazing existence in the kaleidoscope reality here. And till next time, just be safe and try to enjoy your existence. Don't be too safe. Just do what you gotta do and make it work. Just ram that shit. Ram it hard. Run up the universal potentiality through the roof. Blast it up into infinite existence. Alright, love you all. Talk to you all in the next video. Bye.